All right. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Mr. Bell here, week 5, law of cosines. Let's get right at it. All right, the law of cosines relates a side-angle-side relationship and the side directly across from the angle that's in that side-angle-side relationship. All right, so it'll be kind of confusing at first, but once you see this pattern, you'll catch right on to it. I know you will. Okay, so let's just say we're dealing with this side-angle-side relationship, okay? We're going to start writing law of cosines with the side opposite angle A. So we're going to say a squared equals, we take the other two sides, we square them, and add them together. Minus 2 times the product of those two sides times the cosine of the angle that's in between these two. Okay, so it follows that pattern. Let me show you this again in terms of another part of this triangle. So for example, let's just say I have this side angle side relationship. We're going to start writing law of cosines in terms of the side opposite the angle. B squared equals a squared plus c squared, the other two sides squared and added together, minus 2 times the product of these two sides times the cosine of the included angle. Now this would be a good time for you to pause. Oh boy. Sorry about that interruption. I had to plug in my power. And sometimes you hear a little buzz going off. Sorry about that. It's the fan in my laptop. When it overheats, turns on, turns off. So sorry about that little noise. All right, anyways, it's a good time for you to pause and then try it for C, because we can also write the relationship for C too. Okay, so if you're going to try that, go ahead, pause the video, and give it a shot. All right, so in terms of C, we're going to write it like this. C squared equals, now we got this side angle side relationship going on, so we take the other two sides, square them, and add them together. Minus 2 times A, B, cosine of angle C. Okay? All right, so we're going to refer back to that formula as we work through these problems. Example 1. Here's the two skills that you'll be working on this week. Side angle side and side side side. So here's the problem I have queued and ready to go. We're given this information. First thing you want to do is go ahead and draw a triangle. Get this information in front of you so you see the big picture, okay? So RST, we're given angle T of 15 degrees. So opposite angle T is side T. 1.7 for R, so I'll put angle R here, 7.3. So angle S right there, okay? All right, so if you set it up correctly, we're going to have a side angle side relationship. All right, we're asked to find side T. Okay, so what we're going to do is start writing the law of cosines in terms of the side opposite the angle given. Okay, just like this. T squared equals the other two sides, so S squared plus R squared minus 2 times the product of these two sides times the cosine of angle T. I mean, you might be able to jump right into it. You might not even need that. So here you go, jumping right into it. T squared equals 1.7 squared plus 7.3 squared minus 2 times the product of these two sides times the cosine of 15 degrees. Okay. All right, so as you can see, we just have one unknown. I mean, it's really ready for the calculator right now. You have to eventually take the square root to get T, but let's clean it up a little bit. That's a lot to punch in the calculator. So let's clean up these squares and add these together next. So I already have these numbers ready. This gives me 56.18. Let's clean up this product of three numbers. So when I multiply those three together, we get 24.82. Okay, so I'm not going to get too much, I'm not going to do anything fancy here. I'm just going to punch the rest of this in the calculator. 56.18 minus 24.82 times cosine of 15 degrees. Remember, your smartphone usually can do all this stuff too. All these calculations gives me 32.206. So t squared is 32.206. Now I just got to take the square root of both sides, right? So square roots both sides. So we end up with t being about 5.7 to the nearest 10. Okay? All right, so in summary, if you're given side angle side, take a look at it and jump right into it, right? Begin with the side opposite the angle that you're given, and then follow that law of cosines pattern that we worked on here, okay? All right, let's move on to example 2. Example 2 on Delta Math. A few more steps to this one. Okay. When you look at the solution on here too, or get feedback, these authors give 2 methods. And so method 1 involves re-expressing this formula, which is okay. If I have more time in a classroom studying, I'll probably spend more time doing this. But method 2 lines up a little more with what we just did on example 1. So for that reason, I'm going to choose to walk you through method 2. Okay? But both of them will get you to this exact spot. All right? So let me kind of walk you through this. Here we go. Given this information, we're going to be asked to find angle y. But I'm given all 3 sides of this triangle. Okay? All right, so I put down some steps here for you so you can pause, rewind, or whatever for these steps. What we're going to do is start the law of cosines with the side opposite the angle we are looking for. So we're looking for angle y. We're going to start this law of cosines relationship opposite this, so side y, right? So here it is, the generic formula, but once again, you could jump right into it if you're ready. So y squared equals the other 2 sides, which are x and w, squared and added together, minus 2 times x times w times cosine of angle y. All right, and since we have all 3 sides, think about that. All these are sides. So I'm going to be able to plug everything in now, and my only unknown will be the angle. And we can use our algebra skills to solve for angle y. So here we go. Starting with 5.5. 5.5 squared equals x squared plus w squared minus 2 times 2.9 times 8.1 times cosine of angle y. Okay, here's where it gets a little messy, just a little more steps, but nothing that you can't handle. What we want to do is kind of clean up some of these numbers. Let's simplify the squares, products, and sums, okay? So, for example, I'm going to take that 5.5 squared over here. I'm going to calculate that, and it gives me 30.25. I'm going to take these 2 numbers, square them and add them together like I did on example 1. That was the parallels I was talking about. Some of these steps line up. I'm going to take the product of these 3 as well. And that gives me 46.98. Okay, so now we want to get cosine of angle y by itself. So step 3, isolate the cosine expression. Let me give you a little comparison to just a real basic algebra 2 problem, algebra 1 problem. Just say you had 20 equals 8 minus 2x. How would you solve this for x? Well, most of you would know to take the 8 and move that over first. Okay, and that's kind of the comparison we see here, right? A number equals another number minus a number times cosine. Okay, so here we'd subtract 8 to both sides. We're going to do the same thing with this negative 74. Okay, and then after that, we divide by the negative 2, right? All right, let me get rid of this so it doesn't confuse you. So let's go ahead and get rid of this 74. Oops. So when I subtract that, I get negative 43.77. That's gone. Don't forget this negative. That's a very common mistake. Students drop that negative. That's a negative coefficient for the 46.98. Keep it there. Okay, it's almost isolated. We just got to divide by this coefficient and we'll be there. Okay, so when I divide this, it gives me 0.93167 equals cosine of angle y. All right, so we're there. We isolated it. Step 4, we just, when we have cosine of an unknown angle equals a ratio, we can punch this in our calculator. Okay, so use the inverse cosine button on the calculator. So angle y will be equal to the inverse cosine of the ratio that we have there. Okay, punch that in. Maybe I should show you how on this Delta Math calculator real quick. Remember, if you want to use the calculator button, come on up here, top right. You got to hit this function button for inverse cosine. So I'm going to hit it right here. So inverse cosine, here's my equation, and then we punch in 0.93167. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter. And it gives me my answer right here, 21.3 degrees for angle y. So angle y is 21.3 degrees. And there you have it. There's the answer. Okay? So they're going to give you an angle to solve for, and you need to start expressing using all cosines with the side opposite that angle. So I start expressing this with side y. Okay? Then from there we have one unknown, so we tried to isolate cosine of y, so we cleaned up some of the numbers, did the algebra skills to isolate it, inverse cosine. Okay? All right, that's it for week 5. Once again, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great week. Take care.